Billie Bob Harrell Jr. won $31 million in 1997. And if you're expecting a story about a guy who snorted his fortune away or bought a fleet of solid gold unicycles, you're wrong. This is actually much worse. It's a story about a man who was too nice for his own good, and the absolute army of vultures that smelled that weakness and decided to pick his life clean. It's proof that sometimes the worst thing you can be in life is a good guy with a bank account. Before the win, Billie Bob was just a guy selling furniture in Texas. He had a wife, a church, a routine. Then he hits the Powerball. And instead of disappearing to a private island like a sane person, he decides to be a pillar of the community. He starts paying off everyone's debt, buying houses for people who probably wouldn't have lent him a lawnmower a week earlier. On paper, it looks noble. In reality, it's a suicide mission. He was basically walking into a shark tank with stakes tied to his ankles and wondering why the water was getting choppy. The requests didn't arrive. They swarmed. Imagine calling someone you haven't spoken to in 5 years to tell them your roof is leaking just because you saw them on the news holding a giant check. It's one of the most pathetic displays of human entitlement you can imagine. Every friend, every family member suddenly had a life-altering emergency that only Billie Bob's wallet could fix. And because Billie Bob had a pathological need to be the good guy, he couldn't say the one word that would have saved his life. No. Eventually, Billie Bob stopped being a person. He wasn't a husband. He wasn't a father. He wasn't even a friend. He was a resource. A fleshy ATM that never closed. Every conversation became a sales pitch. Every interaction came with an angle. If you think you're exhausted after a 40-hour work week, imagine a 24/7 shift where your only job is deciding which loved one is lying to you the least. That level of psychological warfare is something $31 million can't compensate for. Shortly before the end, Billie Bob told a financial advisor that winning the lottery was the worst thing that ever happened to him. And the most revealing part? He said that while he still had the money wasn't the problem. The people it attracted were. He realized his generosity hadn't actually helped anyone. It just turned everyone he loved into a beggar. He was surrounded by people, yet had never been more alone in his life. In 1999, less than 2 years after winning the lottery, Billie Bob Harrell Jr. took his own life. This isn't a story about the evils of money. Money is just paper. This is a story about the rot of human entitlement. If you don't learn how to draw boundaries with the people trying to bleed you dry, they will eventually find your jugular. Billie Bob didn't fail at being rich. The people around him failed at being human. And if this story made you uncomfortable, good, because this isn't a story about money. It's a story about boundaries. And most people don't realize how expensive it is to have none.